DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's AMA with DeFi Kingdoms. Thank you, everyone who is tuning in live with us to enjoy this AMA, as well as all of those that will tune in a little bit later as well. We are going to have Dreamer joining us here in just a few minutes also, but we also have a special guest with us. So Winston is out this week for the AMA. So Just Crypto and Germ Curry agreed to be our AMA bouts of the week. And Just Crypto was kind enough to hop up here and do the screen sharing and everything as well. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and pull his screen share up so that everyone can take a look. This is a massively sponsored bout. So if you have not voted, because you're like me and forgot, and I'm about to go vote right now, but if you have not voted, you should go vote, because there is a lot of sponsorship on this bout in order for people to win if they vote correctly, and not win, but not lose if they vote incorrectly. So make sure you get out there and get your votes in while there is still time. The first bout is starting in 1 minute, so you have right now to get your votes in, and then the second bout starts in 20 minutes. So you still got some time on that one. So make sure you get in there and get your votes cast. And also make sure that you say thank you next time you see Just or Germ in Discord for being kind enough to take this on for us. It is much appreciated. With that, let's go ahead and get started with some updates. That was the update on the AMA bouts, so that's covered. I am going to pass it over to Sunbear to talk about ETH Denver.
Hey everybody, great to be here. Yeah, ETH Denver is upon us, and we will be in ETH Denver 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, that week there, and we've got quite a group that's actually going to be there. So if you're going to be around, we've got Workhorse, Mr. Zipper, Winston Jazz Hands, Bull on Sauron, myself, and the Dreamer. So you're going to find us in a few places. Mainly, we will be at the arcade. In the past, the arcade hasn't been a part of the main floor, but when you walk in to the main floor now, it's pretty much one of the first things you see. So we're going to have some really great exposure, showing off the combat engine, giving away some brand new swag, spending time with our close partners, including the Metis folks. And Metis is showing up big there too. They'll have quite a few of their people there, and I believe the biggest booth in the entire conference. So some exciting things happening there. Other events will be presenting at the Build event with Metis, and of course you'll see us all over in our DFK Coliseum jerseys. So come and say hi, come have some fun, and I'm sure you'll be seeing us stream here and there of some fun things that are happening there. And I'll let Dreamer touch base on another event at ETH Denver that we'll be a part of. That's your cue, Dreamer, if you want to talk about another event.
It wasn't letting me unmute. Another event meaning Credit
Combat?
Yeah. Yeah, so Credit Combat will be there as well. Everybody that is attending, if you would like to come, please let us know. We do work closely with advisor George or Cryptos R Us, who runs IFC. There's some influencers fighting there, and Credit Combat loves us. We're actually discussing currently what we can do with some things coming up, like tournaments and other things. But yeah, it'll be a good show, be good fun. So our community that's there to help participate in what we have at the ETH Denver event, we're excited to see you. Excited to have some action live and be representing with Metis, and I think it's on that Friday night. for those that want to go and enjoy that event, please do let us know, as we'll likely have a little bit of a list to get you on.
Yeah, I mentioned before, which actually I guess I'll say again on that note. Also, if you are potentially interested in attending the AVAX Summit in London in May, let me know. We're still figuring everything out with them, but usually we're able to get a handful of tickets. So same thing with Karate Combat. If you're going to be in Denver and you'd like to attend Karate Combat with us, shoot me a DM. Just let me know, and we'll keep you up to date on the details and trying to figure out all of the final stuff. But if you are interested, go ahead and reach out to me just so that I can have a list of people and know what we're working with. Appreciate that, gentlemen. I am really looking forward to ETH Denver. It's going to be a good time. Also, on that note, well, no, that's 2 weeks. Never mind. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it next week. But yeah, Denver should be a really good time. Looking forward to it. All right, last update, and then we'll go into some questions. But this is going to be a little bit of a longer update, but it's also just going to be a pretty lengthy alpha drop. So hopefully all of your ears just perked up and you are giving it some attention. So there's several questions regarding the specifics of tournaments. And we've been dropping a little bit of alpha the next couple weeks. So we are not going to give everything today. The full-blown details will be coming. However, we are going to give, a little bit of additional information today on tournaments. And so what I really want to talk about is the tournament structure. So with this 6-month series of tournaments, we are doing a progressive style. So if you look at something like the World Series of Poker, it's very similar to that kind of thing. Or even, honestly, most esports pretty similar as well, where you have smaller tournaments with smaller prizes, and winning or performing well enough in those tournaments lead to bigger tournaments with bigger prizes. So as you play, you keep advancing, you keep moving up, and you keep getting more rewarded. So what our overall structure for this 6-month series is, we are going to have multiple daily tournaments. Those daily tournaments, if you perform well enough, will get you a qualifier to a weekly tournament. If you perform well enough in that weekly tournament, it gets you a qualifier to a monthly tournament. And if you perform well enough in that monthly tournament, it gets you a qualifier to a one-time end of season, final event tournament, which brings the best of the best together to duke it out and declare a final winner. And as you move up from daily to weekly to monthly to that final one, the prizes just keep growing. So you're not only going to have cash equivalent prizes, there will also be some equipment involved. There will be various things, as well as those qualifier tokens, most of which are tradable. In addition to that, let's say you go into this daily tournament and you don't do as well. You're having a bad day, you're off, RNG isn't working out for you, and you don't do very well in that tournament. You're actually going to get a different non-tradable qualifier token for what we are calling the Revenger series, where if you don't perform well enough in a daily, you get the qualifier token to the Revenger tournament. That Revenger tournament, if you do well enough in it, will lead you to a larger Revenger tournament. And that can also lead you to that final showdown at the 6 months. So I mentioned last week, and I know there's just been rampant speculation since I mentioned it, which was not my intention, but I mentioned that the minimum reward is 5x your entry fee for winning a tournament. That is accurate. That is purely the daily. Everything above that just keeps scaling. So the bigger the tournament, the bigger the rewards, the more people get rewarded, the bigger the prize pool. So we're going to release all of those details before tournaments come out. It will happen before release, but we want to do at least kind of overview that structure. The other thing too that we wanted to talk about is our tournament structure is very, very flexible. So for right now, and I guess this is also alpha, but I'm going to say it anyway. So for right now, what we're looking at with those daily tournaments, for example, is a 16 team tournament. Let's say that every one of those is filling up all of the time. We have the option of making those 32 team tournaments, growing the size of the tournament, or we have the option of running more daily tournaments. So there's a lot of adjustments that can be made. That's also why we're looking at this first series running for 6 months, because it's going to be very educational for us as well. I've mentioned before, we're going to be trying, different times of days, different days in general, so that we can see when are players available to play these tournaments and what rule sets do they prefer, because those dailies in particular are going to have a ton of different rule sets. Hubert, I don't know if you remember. I do remember. Should we say how many options we made?
We can, and I mean we can also grow that list or shrink it.
Right.
And I think, are we just talking about for dailies specifically, or for just the total list if you just add them all together for all the different tournament types?
I was thinking daily specifically, but we could talk about both if you want.
Well, yeah, that's probably just better on the daily count. Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind me saying, let's say we have 40 options on there right now. And I think, that very well could grow as we see what's popular and what's not popular. And there are things that we're not trying with this that we could try. So it's a very flexible system. There's a lot of levers we can pull that we haven't pulled, just because it does take a lot of manual effort to make these different presets. But yeah, ultimately I think that should mix it up a lot. You're not always going to be able to use the same heroes to play in these tournaments. So people are going to need to have, teams. They're going to need to build their own teams. We're going to have these tournaments out in advance, so you can see what's coming. And prepare for that, and maybe some people will have just the right team for this specific thing, and others may not, and so it should give more people an opportunity to join in. Maybe they have just the right hero, and yeah, we're gonna be doing things like that. I think with the bigger tournaments though, those ones will be less have fewer options. It will be more standardized.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, lots of different options for those dailies. So yes, the 5x is the minimum cash equivalent payout for first place over the entry fee, but there are other prizes. There are other people getting rewarded. It is not only first place that gets anything back. And the part of that draw is that you want to get to those bigger tournaments, because getting to those bigger tournaments get you bigger prizes, get you bigger wins, and the bigger tournaments reward even more of the participants in those tournaments as well, because you've already had to fight your way up there into that tournament. So keep an eye out for more details coming on that. They will be out prior to release. I will not say when yet, but they will be out. But we wanted to kind of overview that structure and give y'all an idea of what we're looking at, what we're working with, and the kind of overall feel for that tournament structure that we're going for, because we want it to feel like you're constantly getting rewarded for performing well. And part of that reward is going to the next tournament where you can win even more. So I'm going to stop talking there. Is there anything that anybody wants to add on the tournament front before we go into questions? All right. Also, I saw chat talking. I'll try to put together a very bad graphic that kind of shows the progression, but it'll be real bad. Honestly, it actually probably won't even be a graphic. I'll probably just type it out. but yeah. So I hear you. Awesome. Let's go into some questions. So we are going to start out with Hubert Hour. So hopefully you're ready to go. But are we at all concerned about the complexity of the game? And I'm going to include this next part because it actually misstates something and I want us to correct it. So I want it in there. But specifically, once every hero is released and at level 100, that would be 60 skills per hero. How do we plan to manage balancing?
Yeah, so I guess first off, like, while there are a lot of skills available for heroes to choose from, they would also only be able to take a certain amount of them, because like everything past the tier 5 cost, except for like the upgrades, cost 10 skill points each. So, you know, you're really only looking at like getting one more skill per like tier increase from like 20 to 30 and 30 to 40 and so on. So there's you know, in terms of like balancing, it's going to be more of like, you know, if any of these one skills is too high, you know, we could look at, you know, adjusting that one skill. And, you know, then as it goes, they'll have more options so they can kind of combine some of those high end skills together. But, you know, I think because it's a 10 skill point cost, I'm not too concerned about it. And we are also going to be doing it, you know, in kind of progression of, you know, every 10 levels at a time. So I think we'll be able to see like if these new combos, how they play out. And I think even by like level 40, we'll have a pretty good sense of that, because we can start seeing like two skills being paired together from the high end. And of course, there's also like the subclass additions that can be there too, but you can only use 15 skill points in subclass skills. So, you know, I don't think that's going to be too crazy, but, you know, we'll see. As far as like being concerned about the complexity, I think, you know, what we chose to do is better than some of the other options we could have done. Like if we just continued with like 3 skills per tier choice type system that just kept growing, I think that would have been more complex. And you know, ultimately, I think that's kind of the neat thing about like once we get these out is just there's going to be so much variety out there that it just makes the game you know, have so many so many possible metas that can come out of it all, that I think, you know, for us, you know, focusing on having a strong PvP game within the game, I think this is a good direction for us. But, you know, it will be tough. You know, if we find that it's, you know, we have too many skills, or if there's any issues, you know, we can always adjust down the road if we need to. But I'm not too concerned at this point in time.
Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, balance will be ongoing forever. There was a question in chat about tournaments that I want to circle back to real quick. I answered in chat, but I want to say it live too. I'm wondering if they're all level 20 tournaments. Absolutely not. So generally speaking, the higher you get in the series, the less restrictions there are. And yes, you will need those best heroes, which is also part of why we have those qualifier tokens being tradable. So if you are winning, but you don't feel like you can compete at the next level, you have the option to sell it to somebody who does. But especially at those lower levels, like for the dailies, you know, 40 different rule sets, absolutely not all level 20. We wanted to have a lot of variety. We wanted people to be able to compete at various levels. We want to add, like, we want to see as many, you know, players and heroes being able to be used in tournaments as possible. And so if it's all level 20s, it's just very, very restrictive for daily tournaments. You pretty much just see the same people. No offense to those people. We love those people. But dailies are meant to have a lot of variety in order to be open for as many people as possible. So I just wanted to touch on that live real quick as well. Back to Hubert Hour though. Any thoughts on adding health and or mana vials as a small drop chance at the end of patrols?
Yeah, I guess that's an option. There was, I guess I'll note there, we found a bug that was preventing the gold bags from dropping. That's been fixed now. So maybe some of you guys have noticed like larger gold drops occasionally. The amount of gold that you get, you could convert into potions fairly easily. So I think, you know, that's one approach you could take, is just use that to make potions. You know, I think I'm a bit hesitant to just give out potions, because giving out a potion is really like giving out a certain amount of gold and Gaia's tears and whatever ingredients are used to make those potions. So it kind of feeds like eats off of what the profession system provides, and you know, it makes it a little bit less deflationary. which I think we need more usage of potions anyway, just overall. So I'm kind of hesitant to do that. But with that said, we're also considering like what we can do to bring, potentially some upgrades to the meta system. So like, with hunts, you can get, I forget what the skill name is at the moment, but the one that lets you get your potions back sometimes. We could potentially look into getting that on Metis in some form or fashion at some point, so that you might get some refunds every now and then. But I am a little hesitant on dropping potions per se, but we could and we may. But that I'm at least hesitant. I'll let you know that. Thrifty, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Any thoughts on a patrol gauntlet? You enter a team and the patrols are random in difficulty and you see how many rounds you can last.
I like that concept. I think, as we get further down the road, we could probably do something like that. But we do also have like a kind of our own little mini patrols roadmap that we're working through as well. So I don't really want to diverge from that path for the time being. Once that is done, then we can look at additional things we can do with patrols like that. But not a bad idea. Just we have other things I want to make sure we're prioritizing first.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. So appreciate the surprise release on more potions. They for sure increase strategic play also in PvP. Thank you. Well, I guess not me, but on the same token, can you share your opinion on the swiftness potion? Is it too OP?
The swiftness potion has always been kind of a tough one. It is also like the most expensive potion to craft in terms of the ingredients used. So, I did feel like we need to make sure that it gives you the bang for the buck, so to speak. But with that said, I mean, we could potentially adjust it if it does seem like it's too expensive. I think, with the amount of like potion stone weight that you have to use for it does kind of limit your ability to do anything else with your potions for the rest of the fight. So like if it doesn't go well for you, like if the opposing team is able to like hold off through the storm of that swiftness potion, I think that then it kind of puts you at a disadvantage as well. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, I think. It may not be enough of one right now, and maybe we need to adjust that some more. I guess right now I say I haven't really heard too much about it, like needing some more balancing lately. But I'm curious to see, like, once we have tournaments out and with these additional potions as well, like which potions are being used and which ones are not. And I think that'll be pretty informative, especially like with tournaments being the most competitive PvP format, and also very easy to like digest since it's all organized. I think that'll be pretty helpful to as like a balancing tool as well. But so maybe it's too strong, but maybe not. But we'll keep paying our tabs on it. So
nice. Thank you. I missed the end of the match, but I'm told congratulations are in order to Juss for winning round 1. Juss, I know you're checking out the team and getting ready for round 2, but anything you want to say about the first fight?
Yeah, I used one of the new potions. I used an attack potion and failed to kill with repeating shot. And when that happened, it really screwed me up. And I had to stall him out basically because he was using 2 dagger warriors and an oracle. So he could not win once we went out of mana, and mercifully conceded before I had to kill him with basic attacks.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna play.
Well played in the first match. That using an attack potion and still not getting the kill on the repeating shot that's brutal. But you pulled it out anyway, so hey, it's okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm about to use a spell potion here. Show it off. Maybe it'll do a little better.
Nice. Very nice. Well, congrats on game 1, and we will watch eagerly as game 2 progresses, and I'll try not to get whoops, or I'll click my mute button. I'll try not to get distracted right at the end of it. Rolling on with some questions. Back to you, Hubert. Will we be able to remove enchantments from items and disenchant?
We haven't really talked about doing that. I think probably not, considering that we also are making equipment, with the plan of there being durability. So, like making it so that it's like highly customizable and adjustable constantly for something that will eventually either, be quite costly to keep alive with restorations, or, maybe be decided it's time to finally turn it into dust. It seems like maybe a little bit too much customization for something like that. But we'll see.
Awesome. Let's see. This next one, actually, I'm going to kick off, but if anybody wants to add to it, feel free. Can we have call to actions to share DFK related wins on social media? Yes, call to action. Share your wins. So, in actuality, I asked for some clarification on the question as well. So when you complete a match, the replay link is presented right there in order for you to copy it if you want to share the replay link or anything like that. I think it was also partially at least driving at having like a, post on Twitter button, like in game, where it kind of just does it for you. Is it possible? Yes. I mean, I'll be honest, and this is purely my opinion. I don't really love it because I feel like it looks like a cheap mobile game, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. But so it's definitely something that we can talk about. But that is why the share replay link is right there. I do highly encourage you guys, as much as you can, share those wins, share screenshots, share replay links, share your raffle wins. The power of social media should not be underestimated. And yeah, Rinpin, you are correct. And anybody who's been kind of paying attention to the Twitter sphere the last few days, like things are very, very active and very, very bullish towards DFK. We're seeing a lot of people who were around 3 years ago talking and tweeting and discussing DFK, which is fantastic. We're seeing, new players from Wayfinders, from YGG, and from other places that are talking and tweeting and posting. So, we're seeing a really nice momentum shift on the social media side. But every one of you that uses social media can greatly help with that by contributing. We try to amplify posts through our socials as well. So make sure you tag us, please. It's so much easier to find it if you tag us. I look at every single notification on the DeFi Kingdoms Twitter. So tag us, we'll amplify it, we'll share it. We want to keep blasting that outreach out there. That's why we switched our AMAs to YouTube and Twitter instead of Discord, was so that they're out there. So yes, you guys can really help drive that reach. As far as putting a share button in game, I mean, it's something that we can talk about. But I don't foresee it being something that we would prioritize either, because there is some dev work that would have to go into that as well. But yeah, we can definitely talk about that internally as well. If anybody has any thoughts now that they want to share live, please feel free. But otherwise, we're going to go back to you, Hubert.
Thoughts? I have thoughts. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yay.
And see you.
Yeah, you can see me. I'm actually sporting jersey action here.
Nice.
This is a different color than the
It
other.
looks good on camera.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say it looks good on me, but that's fine.
Well, that goes without saying. That's true of anything,
Fine. No, there have been a couple of tweets I just wanted to point out. There's one that I saw, I think it was last night, and it was just in an organic response to something else. It might have been on Coop's acknowledgement of just the beauty of the art, or maybe YGG. I'm not sure, but somebody, and I won't repeat their language because it was a little vulgar, but they're just like, "Wow, I need to get back in." I think I saw like 3 different messages of random accounts from people that really have been gone for a while. And I don't want to focus too much on the comments, but I do want to focus on like the long-term vision. Anybody that's built like a business in the traditional world, you understand like it takes time to build a brand. It takes time to attract dedicated followers or users of your product and to make it profitable. And we are still, that's with a complete product. A complete product even takes time. I think that what we're doing, we have to really be proud of ourselves as a community with what we have accomplished so far and what's in the future. And as we see people start to change their own mind on maybe what they would have said a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, because we just won't stop. We won't stop building. We won't stop creating. And anybody that looks closely can't deny the fact that this game we're watching right now is freaking beautiful. This match is competitive. Anybody that has a vision of an actual competitive RPG like experience tokenized on the blockchain, and the perfect match of what we've learned from all these other fun games and what we can do on the blockchain, like you can't really deny it. The more times you see it, the more times you hear about it, and the more we build, you just got to give us time. Not you guys, but just the world, the market in general. Now, these personalities are also very emotional based on what the market does. So market will keep doing what we're doing. We'll keep doing what it's doing. We'll keep doing what we're doing. But I really hope for and anticipate and expect people to continue to have that change of mind on whatever it might be in their mind, either lack of interest or misunderstandings of the past or getting burned in any product in the space and just being, only looking for 10x, 100x, 1000x, or newcomers coming in and seeing what's available. So I want people to celebrate these wins with us, or at least acknowledge them, because what we do on social media does matter. And every time, even it doesn't really matter how many views you get. One out of those 100 views or impressions could be the impression that converts somebody to want to come check us out. That one person then could have a year or 10 years of gameplay where they have a couple other impressions that help others. And this is how we build communities. We don't build them in mass immediately by a click of a button. You build them one by one. If it's hype, if it's a flash in the pan, if it is a scam or something else, that is immediately up, and then you never know when it's down. If it is not that, brick by brick, person by person, tweet by tweet, win by win, and that's what we're doing. So I really have enjoyed seeing some of those comments, and I'm sure there are days you'll see other comments that don't feel as good. We'll keep going, but we should acknowledge the wins and take them, and look at each individual player that loves the game as being the main win. If that's our focus, we make it fun, we make community, and we have time, we will build. There's no other direction. But if we expect an infinity stone, like instead of 1/3 of all crypto just being in DFK, I don't know how that would happen. And even if it did, I don't know how they'd stay. So Bolon, it's kind of on the topic of the power of social media, just helping awareness of what is real and being experienced and inviting others. Appreciate anybody that posts that. You don't have to make fancy content. And sometimes even just a like and a comment, or seeing somebody new in Discord, or seeing somebody mention it and drop it in a Discord link and being like, come join us, we'd love to chat further. People just like to be welcomed and helped and a sense of community. Crypto is pretty dry on that sense of old school degen, hardcore gamer, quality, healthy community right now.
Agreed. Yeah, I will add one more thing because you inspired a thought specifically to DFK. The reality is also 2022 was a brutal year, and a lot of people checked out and then came back. A lot of those people assumed that we did not make it through, and for whatever reason didn't use Google. So to Dreamer's point about the comments that we won't quote because they were a little bit vulgar, but we see comments regularly of, holy crap, you guys are still around, I'm coming back. That's this kind of thing that we need to continue spreading, get in front of people, let them know that we're still here, we're still building, and we have done a whole lot of stuff in those 3 years. Like, anybody who hasn't looked at us since 2021 or 2022, looking at the game today, I mean, it's unrecognizable. We've done incredible things. So continuing to drive that reach to keep getting in front of those people is very important as well. On that note, I was actually going to mention it later, but I'll mention it now. In a few hours, we're having a Wayfinders Brazil game night. I think it's at 6 o'clock Eastern, so like 3.5 hours. So if you're available, you want to swing by, please do. I know this one is going to be primarily in Portuguese, but even if you want to just come hang out and be a part of it, please feel free. So, stuff like that, doing more of these game nights, doing more of just general exposure and continuing to get the name of DeFi Kingdoms in front of people is very, very impactful. And we really appreciate all of you guys for contributing to it as well. All right, real quick before we move on, I want to bounce back to Just for a moment. Just, you have done what Winston almost is never able to do, and you have won both of your battles today.
I did. The second one was a little more we were both playing aggro. He was playing 3 archers, and I was able to find a window with my spell potion to land like a 300-something point warstone and get a kill kind of off the bat, and then he was kind of screwed.
Yeah, that warstone was nasty. So well played and congratulations. We will also be circling back to you at the end for any final comments and to sign us off. So hang out and hold tight, but congratulations on both wins, and congratulations to everyone who voted for Just, because you have also come out ahead today. With that, we're going to jump back to... Actually, no, sorry. Before we jump back to questions, I was just notified of another announcement that we can make, which we will also be putting out on social media, so please help us amplify it when it does hit social media. But we have surpassed both the 1 millionth hero summoned in Sarandale 2 on Kaya, as well as the 2 millionth total heroes summoned thus far. Now, keep in mind that is summoned, not alive. So those are very different numbers because a lot of them are no longer alive. But we have now passed the 2 millionth hero summoned mark, which is awesome. So that's super cool to see. That is, a credit to all of you guys out there summoning and playing and participating in the ecosystem. So huge shout out to y'all. Like I said, there will be socials posts in the coming days once we get some graphics put together. So help us amplify those as well. We'll make sure that the links are shared and available. All right, back to questions now. And specifically back to Hubert for a minute. Any thoughts on having some kind of like VIP pass or general game pass where you pay a fixed USD amount and you are guaranteed some kind of reward or better reward options or something along those lines, like a battle pass kind of setup?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, I think that could be something that we look into in the future, perhaps. I will say that we haven't really talked too much about that up until this point. We've kind of just been really focused on just getting more features out, expanding the game and whatnot. And something like that would take some time to kind of figure out what to do. And especially if it's like some sort of like guaranteed reward that needs to come on like a timely basis. Things like that, like if it's something that we have to be creating all the time, take away from our everyday just trying to push forward on things. So we're a little bit hesitant sometimes when it comes to like adding too many regular like new equipment or things like that. So I just kind of to expand on why we might not have that right away. But I think it is something we may want to consider down the road. I also kind of feel like it would probably be better for us to have more features in the game, more things built, more classes implemented, and things like that before we went too far with something of that nature personally. But, I'm just one person on the team. We could potentially end up deciding to do something sooner than that if we did want to go down that road.
Appreciate you, Hubert. Real quick, circle back. It was pointed out in chat, and it's just funny, so I want to point it out live. But the 1 millionth hero summoned in Sarandale on Kaya was also a summoner. So it was very fitting millionth summon. All right. One more for you.
That's hilarious. Seriously, it's a summoner.
Yeah, it's a summoner. And I'm told by chat that it was our very own Mark Cookie. So Mark Cookie, the summoner, got a summoner as the 1 millionth summon, which is the coincidence is just beautiful. It's excellent. Let's see. Bounce back to you, Hubert, and then bounce back to you. That was it. Thoughts on having an option to automate patrols like expeditions?
Yeah, probably not. Expeditions is something to address. Professional quests are a pretty simple thing that you do. You just need to start them and wait time and then complete them. There's not really any active gameplay happening there. So I think expeditions makes sense. It's just a way to make that process much easier for the user. But playing patrols is about playing the game, and if you don't have time to do that, I guess just don't play it as much. I don't know that there needs to feel like there's an obligation to be playing 24/7 or anything like that. Of course, we'd like you to play more patrols, but like taking that away, just it kind of feels like maybe like you just don't want to play the game, and if that's the case, maybe you should do something different. But as a game designer, like people wanting to just not play the game and just let me not think about it or do anything about it with it, that kind of isn't really it doesn't feel great as a designer, I would say. So I don't really support going down that road. Now, with that said, we may at some point get into the idea of like people using other people's teams to play patrols, which maybe people with more time could do that for other people. I think I'd like to see maybe us go down that route more, because then there's still people playing at that point. But yeah, generally not a fan of just making our game like completely idle. That's not really what we're trying to build.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Potentially giving you a brief break. I'm going to kick off this next question, although if you want to add anything, feel free. But so this is kind of a multi-part question. I'm going to read it and then try to respond to a couple pieces of it. Essentially, what is the realistic vision for which year DFK will be fully ready for mass adoption? PvP seemed like the thing we were waiting on, and then patrols, but it didn't bring mass adoption. At which stage do we target to really start giving out rewards and go all out on marketing? So I want to address the first part of this first. In terms of like PvP and patrols, the PvP that is out today is a foundational state for tournaments, for player hosted tournaments, for everything else that is coming. That phase of PvP was never intended to be this huge pivotal moment. That is a foundational build where we could have people playing, we could get feedback on the system, people can have fun with it and earn rewards with it now, but then we add everything on top of that. Patrols is the easiest way to onboard into DFK that we have ever had. That said, it's been 4 weeks. Like we're no feature is going to trigger instantaneous mass adoption. It's been 4 weeks. So to answer the broader question, there is a lot of marketing stuff that is coming right now, in essence. So some of it we've talked about publicly before, some of it is still coming. But just to give, some of the examples, we're getting very close to tournaments. Tournaments is going to be a big opportunity for us. You can come in, you can win cash equivalent prizes, you can win in-game prizes. There's a lot to do with tournaments, especially when we're talking about that like grand prize setup. It gives us a lot of flexibility. Outside of that, there's all the stuff with YGG. We are already seeing YGG guild members coming in and experiencing DFK, and we haven't actually even started the Gap campaign season, which is what we're doing with YGG. It has been announced now for anybody who missed it, but Gap is essentially their like marketing campaign season. It runs for 2 months at a time. Players participate. They earn additional rewards for participating. That has not even started yet, and we're already seeing players coming from it because of the announcement that we're going to be in it. So once it does start, that is another opportunity for us. Wayfinders is an additional opportunity. We did 2 game nights with them this past Saturday, one for their Philippines community, one for their Nigeria community. We're doing the Brazilian community tonight. So like in terms of marketing, now is kind of the answer. We are doing a lot of things that we have never done before and really starting to ramp those things up and do more and more. And we're going to continue down that trend. So, ready for mass adoption is kind of a hard thing to answer because it doesn't really have a definition. At this point, we have a full game loop. We have progression in combat. You can play patrols, you can play hunts, you can play PvP. Soon there will also be tournaments within that PvP where you can win prizes. So a lot of those pieces are now here, and we are now starting to ramp up that marketing side of things. Anybody have anything they would like to add to that?
Yeah, I think that was well said. But also I think like there's no crystal ball here. I think at every point in time, when we first had like any demo of any combat system at all that kind of got a lot of our dreams and excitement came to life of what these little NFTs could do. We're all like, oh, everybody's gonna come in, and they really could have. You never know. But the reality is that the long-term build of the game has never been a secret. We're not doing something small here, finishing and complete. It's a huge build, and measuring adoption is a point in time thing. Like, we don't even know what adoption really looks like for all of crypto gaming, because relative to traditional gaming, there's no real comparison. The upside is pretty hard to measure. After that, when we had hunts come out, that definitely could have been a catalyst, but honestly it was like for all of you that were converted from being the phase 1 DFK enthusiast that really gamified a lot of things on the blockchain and gave hope of an eventual game, it came to reality of like, ooh, now I'm being converted as a game player. We're on the verge of converting and seeing who we can convert as competitive players. That is in and of itself its own adoption and its own marketing opportunity. But if we try to think like fundamentally, what does the game require for there to be a significant inflow of users? I won't even say mass adoption. I'll just say significant inflow of users, and therefore sticky and contributing to the different systems included. We really need people to be able to observe, watch, stream, and amplify what is happening. And I know a lot of people don't like the word esports, but in like an entertaining perspective, because that is the cheapest form of marketing. When somebody likes to watch the game, they like to watch others play, and others can actually monetize their own channels by watching an entertaining game that's so connected to the blockchain. Now you have like a parabolic effect where you have the hardcore players that are really good competing at the highest level for fun, good prizes. You have people watching. You have people playing for fun. You have people playing the play to earn or the PvE perspectives that maybe get nervous about competition, but like watching them to learn. You have people making content to help understand. And then you have sponsors coming in because there are so many people talking about it. They're adding to the pot and adding to the rewards, which then revitalizes everything else. So with each pillar that we add, and currently we're working on the competitive gameplay pillar, there are different potential catalysts. Some of those catalysts might simply convert somebody from gamified protocol to game. And I think that's what we've done in the past. And others, they'll have other effects. After we move on from this stage, there are things that we can do. I saw a comment in here like, oh, mass adoption won't come for 3 more years of development. I don't think you know that. I don't think we know that. All we know is there are these pillars that need to be there for successful games that we've seen in the last couple of decades, and we're working on them. As we complete each one, it's unclear at each point in time what kind of interest the new players will have, but we do know long term, as we complete the pillar foundation, we will have an offering that caters to so many people out there. The timing of which they come in, how long they stay, the ups and downs is just really hard to predict. So we're trying for you guys to not get overly obsessed with that, because that would distract from actual incremental deals, incremental builds, focusing on pillars, and having that mature long-term build mindset that I hope you all appreciate. Because little short-term wins to pump player numbers or this, that, or the other are not sustainable. They don't work for anybody in this space. Everybody else, that's all they care about. We really care about the long-term build and hope that we convert sticky community. So I'm excited about the competitive gaming pillar getting a lot of progression since this deal over the last year. But there's also a lot after that as well. I personally am really excited about travel. We touch on it back and forth. But as the commander, that really like solidifies who you are in the game and what it means to have like location-based assets across chain and within each chain. I think for some mindsets that could unlock another level of interest, and others they may only be focused on the competitive value, and others might really just be focused on the play to earn and gamification piece. As we lay these different foundations and pillars, we do invite different players, and there will be an ongoing snowball effect. Who knows, man? Could be tournaments, could be YGG, could be something completely unrelated to all of this, and a new influencer pops up and they love DFK and everybody loves them, and we form a community and have a bunch of people in here all asking questions and complaining and cheering and everything. We really don't know. And what we don't know can't control what we do, but what we plan to do and what we see works, and what with each catalyst, maybe that catalyst isn't a catalyst of mass adoption, but it's a catalyst of, okay, what do we need to do next and how should we do it differently to make sure we're continuing to be set up for success. So that's what we're offering in that feedback and paying attention along the way, and not just putting our heads in a hole and not paying attention. So I appreciate that, and I hope you guys do too. And man, I truly hope that with each one of these releases, we wake up and get the love we deserve and get the interest we deserve. And until that happens, we're still passionate and working away. So I hope that resonates with some of you out there, and we see that long-term vision while also focused on those short-term milestones.
Thank you, Dreamer. Sunbear, I had seen you unmute. Did you want to add to this as well?
I mean, what do you say after that?
Now you got to follow it. Good luck.
How do I follow up with the Dreamer vision? And so I really won't try. I'll just say I've never felt more bullish and excited about our efforts to reach new players. Like you said, Bullon, the Patrols is a big deal, just released, and a great way for people to experience the game and get that foot in the door and get that little bit of taste that might bring them in for more, might bring them into tournaments, might bring them into, doing the summoning and the questing and everything on other realms. So there's a lot of excitement there. Being a part of the marketing team, we've never had as much opportunity and as much energy as we have now. It's really kind of had it happened naturally along the way for a long time, but much more intention and excitement. YGG is just the beginning with patrols and with tournaments, and people, being encouraged to come in and purchase heroes and grind and have fun in the game. There's multiple other guilds and groups and campaigns that we have lined up that we're really excited about. This is kind of like one of our first experiments with this type of campaign. So just a lot of excitement, and like Dreamer said, it is a exciting part of the total vision. It's not the vision. So yep, just feeling super bullish over here.
Thank you, Sunbear. Real quick before we start our wrap up, I just wanted to say one thing, and then I'm going to slip one more question in real quick because it's going to get y'all some bonus alpha. So you're welcome. There were a few questions submitted, which we ended up not getting to today anyway, that were regarding some of the specifics of the Metis deal. We are under an NDA, so we are going to consult with Metis and find out what we are and are not able to share. So we'll circle back to those questions next week. But just a forewarning, some of the answers maybe we can't say, but we'll get some clarification on that. So it kind of worked out well that we weren't able to get to them this week anyway, because we got to check in with them. Real quick, last question for Hubert and some bonus alpha for you guys. Thoughts on having some kind of effect that shortens out drawn-out auto-attack battles, something like increased damage after X turns or reduced healing, etc.?
Yeah, so we did think about that specifically for tournaments, because tournaments need to be a kind of time-based thing where we want the fights to end at a specific moment. So we do have a kind of sudden death mode that will be a part of all tournaments, that will be doing kind of an environmental damage to the whole battlefield, if the fight goes too long. So I guess you can look forward to that happening. For like the void hunts and whatnot, I don't see us doing that there. But also I'm not sure that that's as big of a problem over there than it, in PvP it might be worse. So you can look forward to that. It's we should have that available at launch, just because we do need to make sure that these fights are ending before the next round start. So and we're doing everything we can to ensure that that's happening. And we also are going to have like a kind of an internal system that's going to be enforcing the shot clock as well. So you guys won't be able to like stall out on time or anything like that either. So yeah.
There's a question in chat. I'll leave it up to you if you want to share or not. Any information on the environmental damage? Is it pure, physical, magical, random? Up to you.
It's going to be pure, and it will be a kind of percentage of max HP base per target. So it should kind of bring everybody down like a chunk at a time every time it happens. There won't be any dodging it, any protecting against it or anything like that. Goes through defense, all of that. So
no building hyperspeed to dodge environmental damage.
No.
Awesome. So we are going to go into our wrap up here for today. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody on the stage for taking the time out of their day to answer all of these questions. Special shout out again to Just Crypto for coming up here, doing the battles and streaming them for us as well. Very much appreciated to you, sir. Thank you to everybody who has tuned in live, as well as everyone who will listen to this or read the transcript later. Greatly appreciated. We try to share good information in here, so we appreciate those of you that come in and receive that information. As always, you can submit your questions at talk.defykingdoms.com or in the AMA questions channel in Discord. Really looking forward to ETH Denver in 2 weeks. If you're going to be there, make sure you touch base with us so that we can meet up with you and hang out. It's always a huge pleasure to get to actually meet some of you guys in person. So it's one of the highlights of going to these events for me. But yeah, thank you all. And with that, I will pass over to Hubert for any final thoughts. We're just going to bounce right back to you.
Whoa. We're getting really close on tournaments. We're just kind of buttoning up the odds and ends at this point. There are quite a few little things that I'm kind of have on my plate at the moment. It's a lot right now, but trying to just get through it all. And I think we're all like, everything's looking real good for our release on that. So very excited for that. Looking forward to seeing everyone join that. Hope we see some new players as well, and we're everyone's excited, as excited as me for it, because I think it's very cool, and it's something that we've been kind of building towards all this time. So it's going to be great to see the fruits of that labor.
Dreamer, any final thoughts you want to share?
I talked a lot, so I'll try not to blab on too much, but I hope that everybody is developing their own understanding of the long-term vision and the current focus, and like the role that this point in time is playing in that. What Bolon announced earlier of the series of tournaments that will be released, going from daily to weekly to monthly to like a big ending grand finale of that season. We're going to learn a lot during this process. We're going to learn how to make things fun, and not only for those that are having fun on the competitive side, but sometimes you remove a lot of the competition through how customizable everything is, and we're going to try to make this fun. A lot of the things along the way that we haven't shared here that we'll share later, I'm really excited about. I think that a lot of us need to get back to a little bit of the fun as well. And as people see us having fun, that's going to attract people. The other piece is we're going to try to make this very rewarding. As people see that this is very rewarding, it's going to attract them as well. please believe in the power of competition, FOMO, and overall interest in watching skilled people play a deeply strategic and beautiful game. It won't be immediate overnight. It may not be in the first season, but I do believe that this will be one of our strongest pieces that help us market naturally and bring in people organically that stick. It isn't the only one. There are many other things that are important. And when Hubert said, I got a lot on my plate right now, we kind of all do. We're all juggling a lot, and we as like a whole community. But this is one of the focuses right now. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the good questions. And thanks for coming here with so much energy in chat and on socials and in the game and in Discord. Excited for those that we'll see in a couple of weeks and for all that's to come. And stay tuned for a little bit more specifics and alpha on tournaments, hopefully around next week. Because I think people will be pleased and eager to hop in and have fun, compete, and look for that glory.
Thank you. Over to you, Sunbear. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, just a couple quick thoughts. Something that Bolon, I think, said a while ago as we were starting to prepare some of the things that are going live this next week, like YGG, for example, Gap campaign and other exciting things, is, join Team DFK. Like, put on your bullish hat. Talk to people in Discord. You're going to start seeing new people in there. You're going to see people asking a lot of questions. You're going to see people coming into the tavern on the Metis chain, looking to buy new heroes. If you've got heroes, throw some heroes up for sale. Join the team, help us make this happen, because I think we're going to see a lot of new faces and not a lot of new people kind of exploring. In addition to what Dreamer was saying, post your winnings, post your games, amplify. Join DFK, join Team DFK, and let's do this together.
Thank you, sir. And Just, over to you. Any final comments that you want to share, and then give us a good sign off.
All right. Well, as this has gone on, I've become more and more curious as to what the hell was said earlier, because I was playing and trying to dodge critical dagger strikes and didn't listen to hardly the first part. So I'm going to have to go listen to that soon. I'm very curious because I am very bullish for tournaments. I can't wait to play. I'm very bullish on the team and game in general. Thanks for having me. Bullish once again.
Bullish.
Bullish.
Thank you, Just. Thank you.
Bullish.
We will see you all next week.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.